What's up, everyone? Y'all, welcome back to another movie review. Today we're taking a look at another movie which is on Netflix, and it is technically classed as a series on Google and on IMDb. And I don't know why, because it isn't actually a series, it is a movie, and it's like an hour and 40 minutes long, so I don't get why it's being called a series. I think it was supposed to be broken up into a series because it does have 6 chapters to it, all around, 20 minutes each. So I do understand why it is called a series, but it isn't. It's a movie and it's all put into one thing. So here it is, one whole movie. It is called Intergalactic, and it has such a unique animation style, which is very similar to the Spider-Verse animation style, and I am all here for it. It looks so cool, so unique, and so beautiful that I was sort of in a trance the entire time watching it. So let's get into what Google says about it, as we always do here on Film Review. And ambitious artist Jabari attempts to balance success and love after he moves into his dream Manhattan apartment and falls for the next door neighbor. That's what Google has to say, so let's see what Tyler has to say and go through the story from Tyler's perspective, Tyler's view. So, how the story starts is Jabari is sat on the roof smoking some W33D, trying to sort of YouTube friendly this, some good old smoke, and he goes and has to put up a car doll into his room, and he bumps into the girl that's next door neighbor. Foreshadowing, which is really cool. I love the foreshadowing in this, because he actually bumps into this girl 3 or 4 or 5 times before they actually get together. But he goes for a late night drive in his bike, late night ride around the city to get used to the city, and he actually bumps into his ex, and he gets with his ex. They have a quick shag. He then wakes up and then he's like, fuck, I shouldn't have done that. I don't need a relationship right now. I don't actually like Carmen. And from this, you can tell Carmen's a bad girl. Carmen is bad. She's bad news. You don't want her in your life. And there was something very off about Carmen, and I knew she was going to be a problem later in the movie, just from how she was. So he then goes back to his crib and goes out partying the next night with his 2 best friends. One of them is voiced by Timothée Chalamet. Can't say his name, but we're all on a Timothée Chalamet binge this time. Been in 2 movies that I've watched in the past 2 days. And anyway, they party all night, hit all the spots, hit all the clubs, the dances, the parties that are going around in Manhattan, New York City. And he then wakes up the next day and he has to go to work. So, pretty bad move, staying up all night partying. He's now at work, and he gets given a worry plan. And he's been told, basically, that his comic that he's working on, and he's basically got this big job with Cosmic Comics to do his street art in a comic form. And this guy's basically telling him that he can't do what he wants to do, and this company will try and change that. And if he doesn't agree with them, they'll obviously drop him, and he doesn't want that. He can't lose his job. He's like, got the big bills, the big money now, and he feels like a big shot. So he can't do it. So the worry plant in the background is growing bigger and bigger and bigger, and he just have a nightmare about his character changing, and he doesn't want that. He then goes home and bumps into his neighbor, because her neighbor's actually throwing a party, and he basically, love at first sight, like cold love roses music in the background, not actually hearing what she's saying, just stuck in a trance because of how beautiful she is. And he basically tells her, can you turn the music down a little bit, please? And then backtracks on that because she's so beautiful. Like, turn the music up, have a party. She then wakes him up the next day. Don't know why he's at work. Don't know why he only worked one day. But she invites him to lunch at this vegan place. And it's a very good burger place, not gonna lie. The burgers looked really good and I wanted to have one. I was so hungry when watching this. But they go on this nice romantic date day, walk through the park, hitting all their favorite spots, and they then go back to their friends, tell them all about each other, and then, they meet up at another party the next night, which is a weird party. It's an OF party. Very strange. But they end up going home on his bike and basically calling it a night. Next day, the friends are like, hey, why didn't you fuck each other? Why didn't you shag? and they're like, hey, I don't want to shag my neighbor, don't want to fuck him, don't want that on my plate. They then go home and shag. We have a montage of them doing their work, going out on dates and shagging here, there, and everywhere, and it's weird. But I was very weirded out by that. But then we have them going on to, continuing on their time. She sees a notification from Carmen, who I fucking knew was bad news from the beginning, with his jumper covering herself, saying, hey, some things always still fit, a very sexy, revealing picture. And they ended up sort of going on a break. Ross, it's a break. You don't fuck someone else on a break. But they keep going on a break. He shows up at her sort of photography thing, her photography sort of display, and she then goes to the burger place. They forgive each other. They love each other. They have a good night. Movie ends with a really beautiful sort of galaxy background. I really like this movie and its art style. It is such a beautiful art style and is really unique. The colors are insane. The backdrop of New York City always looks so good. There's so much detail in the background, and there is stories being told in the background through this Stush app, and how it's sort of taking people's money, and you can see all that through the background of the movie. And it's so incredible that there's so much going on in this movie in the background that you can sort of pick up on, notice, and look at, as well as still keeping up on the story in the front, which is obviously with these two lovebirds. I love how each character also tells their own unique story. To, obviously, our main character, to give him advice, they tell him a story, but each story is done in their unique art style. Like, his best friends are in, like, this spray painty art style as they're telling their story. This other guy that they meet at, like, the skate park, his is sort of, like, done in little sort of stickmen sketches. And then we also have the girl's best friend retelling her story to give her advice, done in a very anime art style, which I thought was really cool and just added a lot more depth to the movie, giving everyone's different perspective on the world and showing how everyone sees the world differently, as everyone's story has a different art style, everyone has a different story to tell. And I thought that was so unique, and it was told through that, but it was also told through him with all of his street art everywhere, all of his graffiti, but also him trying to tell a story of a comic, and she's trying to tell stories and capture moments through photo. So it is a movie all about stories and different people's perspectives and looking at things in different ways, and how people can quickly misinterpret stuff and it can cause shit because people don't see stuff the same way. That's what I got out of this movie. That was the message that I took out of this movie. I don't know if it was the intended message, but it was a good message at that. The characters are quite basic. There isn't too much depth to them. It is just like a basic rom-com teen movie. So there isn't too many sort of character development or character changes. It just feels quite basic with how the characters go. And it is a very boring relationship story that is so overdone, with people seeing, like, they cheat and then they break up, they find out they love each other and get back together, that is all just a big misunderstanding. Relationships are a lot harder than that. There is a lot more fights in relationships than just cheating on each other. I wish there was more, like, movies out there of relationships with different fights. Like, they couldn't decide on what to eat, what food to order, so they have an argument. Maybe that's what breaks them up. I don't know, something different, something a little more spicy, something not just, you cheated, break up. That's so boring. It's so overdone. I want a new movie, like a new relationship movie with a new relationship problem. This one is so overdone, but I love how they both get so depressed, and the sort of world around them shows that, with everything going wrong in their life when they're not together. And that just shows, like, a lot of show not tell. Like, their lives are really shit. You can tell that they're unhappy. You can tell that they're not on the ball, that they're not doing their best, that something is wrong. And they show that through the weather, through the color scheme. Manhattan goes from this bright, colorful place to a very gray, blue, purpley, dark place with a lot of rain, and their bikes are breaking, they're not doing their tricks, the drawings aren't coming together, the worry plant is dying in the background as well. It's just really cool with the background images that helps tell the story in a lot of show not telling. I thought it was really cool and really interesting with how they sort of showed the story through the art style rather than just having the characters explain everything. It was a lot cooler, and you, again, with animation, you can do a lot more than you can with live action. So seeing all this being done was really cool and really interesting. Again, very cool movie. I was in awe at the art style. The story I was quite bored at, and I was sort of debating going on my phone, but then I didn't want to miss out on any cool background details. So there was that. The story, quite boring, quite basic. However, it is up for like an Emmy nomination. Sorry, I'm like brain farting right now. I don't understand what I just said, but I hope it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, blame it on the fact that I'm hungry, because watching this art style again reminded me of the movie, and this movie made me hungry. So, other than that, I hope you all enjoyed this YouTube video. See you all next one. Have a nice day, and goodbye. Stay home and stay safe. Go watch the movie. It is on Netflix, and I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. Probably not going to watch it again, but it had a really cool art style, which encaptured me and made me want to watch it. So I've seen it now, happy that I watched it, but I probably won't watch it again. So, if you do want a little bit more Tyler Price in your life, please do hit the link in the description, and it'll take you to everything else that I have to offer as a content creator, from my TikTok to my Twitch to my Instagram to my Cameo to my Patreon and all the stuff like that. So, other than that, I'm done. Bye.